Well, I think in racing, of course, as a 7-year-old, I found like an old friendship book, and there was like dream job for me. It was Formula One world champion, not just Formula One driver, it was world champion. And of course, by the years, you get a little bit more realistic. For me, racing is my passion. It's what I love to do. It's what I'm living for. So yeah.
You're listening to the Cut to the Race podcast. It's lights out and away we go.
Hello and welcome to the Cut to the Race podcast. We've got some wonderful people with us today. On the panel we have Emma. How are you?
I'm fine, Ollie. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. We have Callum. How are you?
I'm good, cheers, mate. Looking forward to this one. I think it'll be a very good one.
I think so too. And we have a fabulous guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Fabienne Wohlwend. I'm a W Series driver.
Amazing. And we also have Anne hiding in the background. So hello, Anne from W Series. She is here with us, but she's not talking. I had to give you a special mention. So Fabienne, for the people who don't know who you are, can you just give us a little overview of what it is you do and what you do for a living?
Yeah, of course, I'm Fabienne. I'm from Liechtenstein and I'm a professional race car driver. This year, my main focus is W Series. It's going very well so far. I also do quite some endurance racing, and yeah, most of you might know I did Ferrari Challenge the last 2-3 years. So yeah, that's kind of my background. I also did a lot of endurance in Nürburgring this year, including the 24-hour of Nürburgring, which was a real highlight of my career. And now, of course, very busy with W Series, and yeah.
So you are you're an experienced driver in GT cars, as you just said. So racing in the Ferrari Challenge, the Audi TT Sport Cup as well, which is amazing. But how does the single-seater racing that you're doing in W Series compare to GT racing?
Yeah, I mean, I did karting as a kid, and then I did 1 year of Formula 4 before, jumping into the GT world with the Audi TT Cup. And then, of course, Ferrari Challenge, a very powerful car. It's hard going back into a single-seater like the F3 car. But yeah, in 2019, I did like a lot of like switching back and forth from Formula to Ferrari Challenge, which was, quite a challenge, I would say, because, just the driving styles are so different. Of course, the Formula car, a lot of downforce, very fast corner speed. In the Ferrari Challenge, completely different, very fast on a straight line, heavy braking, and you really have to wait until you rotate the car completely until you can go flat out. Otherwise, you're just gonna, spin around. And of course, this year it's been a bit easier for me. I did some endurance in the beginning of the season, and now I really said I want to focus on W Series for at least for now until the summer break. We'll see after the summer break. I might have some surprises coming up, which I can't mention yet, but hopefully soon.
Oh, well, what do you mean you can't tell us yet? That's oh, come on. Obviously, so you've just mentioned the difference between the two cars. So you've got a W Series car, which is it's a driving machine, especially for racing. Obviously, single-seater, you're looking about, give or take, correct me if I'm wrong, Anne, about 270 horsepower, but absolutely an aerodynamic beast. But then you've got a Ferrari, which I believe the ones you race are about, 670 horsepower, if I'm right? Which one do you get in and go, yes, this is why I'm a racing driver?
I would say both. I mean, I really like to race both cars. Of course, in the Ferrari Challenge, you get a lot of power. You can do like some door-to-door racing, which, in the F3 is a little bit more cautious, difficult to do. But it's like the F3 is a real race car. Like you can go so fast into a corner, like coming from a GT racing style is like, you can't believe how fast you really can get into the corner, how much downforce it has, how much it sticks to the tarmac. So yeah, I think both of them, either way, they're amazing race cars, and they're so much fun to drive fast.
So obviously you've raced in the TT Cup, you raced in the Ferrari Challenge, and you're racing in W Series currently. You've already done quite a bit in your career. What is the ultimate goal for you in your career? Like, what is the one series you look at and think, wow, that is for me, once I've been in that, I've made it. What is that series for you?
Well, I think in racing, of course, as a 7-year-old, I found like an old friendship book, and there was like dream job for me. It was Formula One world champion, not just Formula One driver, it was world champion. And of course, by the years, you get a little bit more realistic. For me, racing is my passion. It's what I love to do. It's what I'm living for. So yeah, I reached my goal now, or my first goal now, with not having to bring financial funds for me to race. But yeah, the next step would be that I really like getting money for my racing. So I would say the next goal is to get like a works contract, to get like a regular income. Because yeah, for every athlete, I think that's the main thing everyone is struggling with, to have like a regular income every month. And series wise, of course, now we're racing with Formula One. It's like a little bit closer than it used to be. I would say, yeah, anything in like Formula racing would be amazing. I would also like to do like DTM. I would also mention endurance is one thing I really want to do in my career. I started now with the 24 hour of Nürburgring. So the goal is next year to get like a faster car. Goal would be to do it in a GT3. This weekend, Le Mans is coming up. So that's definitely a race I want to be on the grid one day. And America is also on top of my list. So IndyCar, if you have a seat, call me.
So, as you've just mentioned, you did your first 24-hour race. I believe it was about 2 months ago now. How did that challenge compare to a normal race? Because obviously, these 24-hour races, it's an endurance race. There is no stopping here. How did you find that compared to a half-hour sprint race, for example?
Yeah, it was a real challenge for me. It was, of course, my first 24-hour race. I didn't really know what to expect. And then on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, I would say one of the most challenging tracks around the world. And then, of course, crazy conditions. First time I jumped into the car, my teammate told me, slick tires, gonna be fine. And I drove out, the first 2 sectors were like plain wet. So yeah, it was quite an experience. Good fun. Of course, we were a little bit unlucky with the interruption because of the fog in the night. But yeah, it was for me so weird to be nervous. I didn't do the starts. It was so weird. I was so nervous, even though I wasn't the one in the car. So now I think I know a bit how my parents are feeling when I'm racing, kind of.
So you've been racing in W Series since 2019 in the inaugural season. So what has W Series done for your career in terms of your learning, your progression, and your goals so far through into 2021?
Yeah, W Series has been the biggest opportunity in my racing career. I'm a qualified banker. I was working full-time as a banker in 2019, and W Series made my dream come true to turn professional. It finally gave me, like kind of the safety, financial safety with the prize money, and finally gave me enough courage to quit my job and to live my dream full time. And yeah, so far it was really good. My focus fully onto racing also transferred into better results. And I think it's just the beginning now. So yeah, W Series, I'm really thankful that I applied back in the day.
If we're talking better results, I did some research, as we always do. But over a quarter, in fact, 34.8% of your races that you've ever done, you have been on the podium. I mean, if that is not a good professional racing record, then what is? I mean, tell me, you've got to be proud of that one, right?
Well, I didn't know that, so thanks for the statistics. Yeah, I mean, I can't complain. It's been going really well the past few years, way better than I imagined. And yeah, I don't really know what to say.
So I'm going to ask you a bit of a difficult question here.
Okay.
How long do you think it is before we see a woman or a female driver in Formula One?
Give me 2
realistically.
seasons.
2 or 3 seasons. I hope so. I genuinely hope so. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would be amazing.
No, I really believe women can be fast in racing. Of course, we have a physical disadvantage. We have to work hard in the gym. We have to, maybe prove a little bit more. But yeah, W Series, we're creating role models. I really hope that the little girls watching our races on a Saturday afternoon and tell their dads, I want to be a racing driver. And of course, if I would have this support when I was like 15, 16, that would have been just so much easier. So yeah, I really think realistically, I would say 5 to 10 years until we really see the first woman kicking in Formula One.
So just to touch on that as well, like you've just touched upon how you might, you think that it could be 5 to 10 years that a woman could, the next Formula One driver could be a woman. But what do you think are the barriers that has stopped women getting into that level, getting into the pinnacle of motorsport? A lot of people have got a lot of different opinions about this. It's down to sort of the physical aspect of it, or it's down to the mental aspect of it. But what do you see as being the main barrier, shall we say, as a woman getting into Formula One?
Well, so for me, I would say my biggest barrier was financially, of course, education. Coming from a country like Liechtenstein, I never had any financial backing or like a school that was willing to support me with racing. I always had to like have certain grades to be able to skip school. So I was mostly like on the way to and from the racetracks. I was studying with my dad in like our motorhome driving. So I think, for every athlete, I think it's so important to have like a plan B. Mine was, of course, finishing school, finishing my banking. So I have something in case I fail with it. So I would say one important thing would be that we can get like education and the sport together. So we can really focus more on the sport without worrying too much about our future. And then, of course, financially, I mean, it's so heartbreaking that our sports is just so crazy expensive. Like it's even in karting, like it's not available for everyone because the parents just don't have the time and the money, because racing, let's be honest, is so time consuming. I mean, I spent more or less every weekend on a racetrack somewhere in Europe. And I mean, my dad still worked full time and kind of like skipped the days as well. So I would say it would be really important to have like this kind of like also from a younger age to support the kids like already in karting days to push the girls to get to that level. And then financially, like the more you test, the better you become, and the easier it also gets to get better and better. So I would say it's down to combining those things.
So talking about your current championship, going back to W Series for a moment, you've had 10 races, 3 of them are podiums, and Silverstone was I believe it was Silverstone, the second highest finish, where we interviewed you after, and I just couldn't understand it because you were still so happy after that race, right? And that was your race all the way through. I was thinking, yes, she's got it. Yes, 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 yes. And then obviously things happen. But how do you how do you stay so happy after something like that? Just explain.
So many people told me that. I was like, what should I do crying on a podium? Like, it's my best finish ever in W Series. And I know I was so proud of my start, because in 2019, that was really my weak point. I really struggled with the starts, and that's something I really worked on. And now I finally nailed it. And of course, without the safety car, I think without the safety car, I would have won the race. But yeah, things are how they are. I made a mistake. I was locking the brakes. Alice was there in the right time. So yeah, fair play to her. And yeah, I don't know. I'm a really happy person. I'm really like the yellow sunshine. I'm always happy, bubbly, and everything. So yeah, I think that's just me. I can't hide my happiness. And I don't know, finish in second, of course, you're the first loser, especially after leading almost all the race along. But yeah, I mean, for me, it just felt wrong not to be happy, because I crossed the line and I knew I impressed so many people. I've shown my performance, I've shown my great start and racing skills. And of course, mistakes happen. It was a bad mistake, but yeah, I'm not gonna cry just because of one mistake.
Half of our team did, by the way.
I think I'd have cried 100%. So obviously, like Silverstone, there's some great circuits on the calendar this year for W Series. Arguably, I think they've got a better draw than Formula 2 and Formula 3, in my opinion. So which is the circuit you're looking forward to the most out of this season, or have you already been there?
Well, I would say my favorite circuit is just hanging behind you guys. I know it's a podcast, you can't see it, but it's Spa. Spa is a track I have, a lot of good memories from. I've won there before in Ferrari Challenge. And yeah, I just really know, I just love high speed tracks. A lot of like altitude changes are my thing. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to Spa in just 2 weeks' time.
We're also at the halfway point in this season. So we've got 4 races to go, and currently you're sitting 6th in the standings. But the difference in the points gap between all the drivers is so close just now. Believe it or not, you're actually, I mean, you probably already know this because you've probably been looking at it, but you're only 3 points off of 3rd in the standings. You're level on points with Irina Sidorkova. She is like a wonder kid in the car. But do you see that 3rd place at the end of the season being achievable for you?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, P6 halfway mark, only 3 points behind 3rd place. I think that's the goal. Believe it or not, so many people reminded me if I wouldn't have done the mistake in Silverstone, I would be P3 by now. But life is how it is. So I'm gonna make up for it in the last 4 races that we have left. And yeah, I really used the summer break well. I've trained a lot, been a lot on my simulator that you guys see in the background. So yeah, I feel ready for the rest of the season to kick back.
That's what it is in the background. I've been sitting here wondering the whole time what that was, and I can see a bench press on one side, and now I know it's a simulator on the other side. So is this the room where all the magic happens then? Yeah,
this is really, here's my office where I'm sitting. In the background there's my racing simulator, and here my little home gym. My home gym, to be fair, was mainly in COVID times when I couldn't go to my normal gym. So yeah, I'm not using this anymore. I'm going to my gym. But yeah, this is where I spend most of my day. It's pretty beautiful. I have like the sheets down because it's super sunny and hot. Otherwise, I have like a nice mountain view of the Liechtenstein and Swiss mountains. So yeah, could be worse, I guess.
Yeah, it could be. Looking out my window, it's raining and I'm in Manchester. So yes, it could be. No offence to anyone listening in Manchester. But let's go back to the beginning. What actually got you into racing? So when you were a kid, what was it that stood out to you?
Well, I was always the crazy kid. I always loved everything fast, adrenaline, dangerous. So yeah, I actually wanted a pony when I was like 6 years old. And yeah, then my dad is a real racing fan. He never had the possibilities or the funds to do anything by himself, but he bought my big brother Rafael a go-kart, and they kind of forced me to try it. And I did a couple of laps, opened the visor. I was like, Dad, I want a go-kart. So for my 7th birthday, I got a go-kart as a present. And from there on, I knew that I want to be professional. And yeah, it was a lot of teachers or people around us telling us it's not possible, it's just a waste of time and money. But it was our family hobby. My dad was our mechanic, me and my brother driving, mom looking after us, and it was just amazing. So I wouldn't change my childhood for anything.
I wish my daughter would do the exact same thing, because all she wants is a unicorn. Me trying to get her into a go-kart is one of the most difficult things on this earth. It's trying to get her into a go-kart. She looks at one and then she goes, no, I just want a unicorn. And I'm going, please just get in it, because I know she will really, really love it if she gets in it. But she just really doesn't like going anywhere near the speed that a go-kart does. So that's really difficult to get her in a go-kart. But you've obviously, racing in W Series, it's encouraged a lot of young girls and women to get into motorsport in various different ways, you know, into driving, or whether it's, you know, into media, into marketing, etc. But do you see yourself as that role model for, you know, women and young girls to get into the sport?
Yeah, I mean, it's been fantastic. And of course, in the beginning, you were not so aware that you're a role model now. But I just received after Silverstone like the cutest message on Instagram, because like this guy approached me with his little sister, and she was like maybe 9 years old, and she was like so amazed by everything, seeing us racing, and they asked me for any advice, how they could get into it or how they could start. And I basically told them, well, just go to a rental karting place, try it out if you like the speed and everything. And they just dropped me a message with some pictures that they went to a rental karting track, and now that she really want to become a professional racing driver, a W Series driver in the future. And yeah, it's just, I was really sitting there, I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. And of course, also my country, Liechtenstein, I get recognized more and more. And all like my friends and their kids, they're like so amazed by it. So yeah, I think really have to take this job serious, because yeah, little kids are watching us and they're looking up to us. So yeah, it's a real honor to be here and to change the face of motorsport.
Holly nearly interrupted me there. So when you were 7 years old and you first got into a go-kart and you started racing, who was the driver that you looked up to the most? Who was the driver you thought, I want to be that person, I want to drive like that person?
Yeah, well, well, I never really had like a hero or something. Of course, me growing up, I'm a complete Ferrari fan. My heart beats for Ferrari. Of course, Michael Schumacher was the one driver back winning races in a Ferrari. So of course I was inspired by him. Otherwise, my dad, he never raced anything like championship wise. He's just a fast driver, and he was always with me kind of as my coach, my mechanic, just to be here with me. So I would say those two.
So you've had like every racing driver, you have your ups and your downs. That's a given. You put good days and your bad days. The only difference is you smile through them all. However, you had a very, very big, almost life-changing crash a couple of years ago, and you actually posted it onto your Twitter. So I have seen it, but it's absolutely terrifying. For the people that haven't, if you've got a strong stomach, watch it. But how did that affect you? Because it was at the Nürburgring, wasn't it? And the car flipped and you went into the barrier. As a racing driver, when you next get in that car, what do you think to yourself? Because you've seen what's possible, you can see what can go wrong. How do you get through that?
Yeah, of course, the crash was indeed 1 week before the Brands Hatch final in W Series. I did a Nürburgring endurance race in a BMW, and it was raining in the beginning. It dried up, and yeah, I just lost the car in a very fast corner in just before Schwedenkreuz. And yeah, when I touched the grass, I knew I'm gonna hit the barrier. There's no out of it. And I hit the barrier with 180 kilometers per hour. And of course, because I came so fast, I flipped over 6 times until I was standing still. And yeah, of course, it was the first big crash in my career since I started racing at 7. And yeah, of course, I'm not trying to do that again, but funny enough, the first question in the ambulance car was, is my helmet okay? And the lady thought I'm like completely insane, but I was like, I need that helmet next weekend. And she was like, well, we first have to get you checked because of the big hit, they were afraid that I broke my shoulder or collarbone. But yeah, I got checked and released from the hospital. I spent 3 days with my trainer and physio to get me moving, and again they take me back together. And Thursday after the crash, I flew to London for the Brands Hatch finale. And honestly, I never doubted that it's gonna affect me while racing, but you never know until you race again. And I remember I was in Brands Hatch and my engineer told me, leave a gap so you can have like some free laps in the practice. Was like, no, I have to overtake, like I need to race now and I need to overtake cars. And I was completely fine. I was really proud of my mental strength and just to overcome that crash like this. And also, I didn't go back to the Nordschleife in 2020. I was back this year. And even like the first time I drove through that corner, it wasn't in the back of my mind, like never. It was like still going as nothing happened. And I think that's something I can really be proud of.
So, obviously, you've got the simulator behind you. Do you do a lot of sim work before your races? So, for example, you say that obviously you crashed at the Nürburgring and you went back there this year. Did you do a lot of sim work around the Nürburgring? Do you think that maybe mentally prepared you for that? Do you think if you hadn't have done the sim work and then got straight back on it and went through that corner, you might have felt a little bit differently?
Yeah, of course, the sim helps a lot. And I think it's one of the most important tools we have because racing on track is just so limited and way too expensive. So I spent a lot of time in the sim, especially during winter, to learn all the new tracks, doing some races. A lot of them I've done last year. We did the online W Series Championship. I've done the Porsche Super Cup online. So quite some experience in sim racing. So I think it helped me a lot. Also, especially Nordschleife, it's impossible to learn the track by just driving in real life. So you really have to be well prepared. And also, after a crash, I've went back and forth on the sim, and it of course helped me.
So with W Series supporting Formula One this year, do you get the chance to actually properly watch the races at the track? Are you in the grandstands or are you in the pit lane? How are you watching F1 this year?
Yeah, it's been really cool. Of course, I've been following Formula One basically all my life long. And before W Series, I just went to one Formula One race in Hockenheim like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's been very exciting. Unfortunately, being on the same weekend with F1 also means missing a lot of it. Like we're already sitting in the car at the qualifying, and I always ask my engineer for the standings. And the race, it depends on our schedule and also flight schedule. Some of them we were able to watch live on the track. But yeah, some I already had to go back to the airport and watched it like on the way or in a restaurant or something. So yeah, I hope like Spa for sure we're gonna stay because we're directly going to Zandvoort afterwards. And Zandvoort I really also want to watch because I think it's gonna be a cool race, cool location. So yeah, hopefully I can stay for that one as well.
Were you able to watch when you were at Silverstone? Did you see the incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton? You probably know what I'm going to ask.
Right. Can we not?
Can we not?
Callum is a huge Max Verstappen fan.
Right.
And
That
Ollie
is unfair.
is the biggest Lewis Hamilton fan I know. I'm out of the argument on this one because I'm a Daniel Ricciardo fan. So that, you know.
Oh, okay.
The worst thing about the whole crash was the fact that I was sat at Stowe, so I didn't even see much.
You didn't see a thing.
Oh
No, I didn't
that's
see
so
a thing.
sad.
So I'm just sat there watching a screen, thinking,
Well-
yeah, this is going to be mint, and then it all.
But then the
ended.
goat comes round, so you know.
But as a racing driver, like, what is your genuine opinion on that incident? I'm quite curious to know.
Well, I haven't seen the crash live because I was at the track in the morning for some interviews after my podium. But yeah, I wanted to see the start, but yeah, they said I really have to leave because otherwise I could miss my plane. So yeah, I basically watched it when I was in the airport because so many messages all over and I was like, what's happening? And yeah, as a racing driver, it's tough. It's a really tough one. It's a super fast corner, super dangerous corner. So I really believe if both of them would have respected each other, they would have made it through without contact. And it was the beginning of the race. So I think if that was W Series, us girls would have thought through it a bit more and the crash wouldn't have happened. I don't want to say that we're racing less hard, but I really believe that as a female that we're racing more like with our head, like thinking through. Also in Silverstone, at my start, like Alice and me were like sideways or like next to each other almost until turn 4. And we always given each other enough space to just survive. So yeah, coming to the Lewis and Max situation, of course, I think where Lewis hit Max, he was like, normally they say if you're like 2/3 in front, that it's your to make the corner, and he really hit it like in the middle. So it's really borderline. So I would blame both. I have to.
Okay, you said if it was W Series, it probably wouldn't have happened. I've got a question. Forgive me, this is a really awful question, but I'm going to ask anyway. If Silverstone hypothetically was the last race in W Series for the championship, you're level on points with your championship rival. Would you make that move on the final lap if you were Lewis Hamilton?
On that corner. No, I would have waited until turn 15, the one before the hairpin, because even if I mess it up, I could go wide and then I could still make it second last turn and last turn okay.
So Lewis Hamilton, I know you're listening. Here is some driving advice for you, okay? That's what you need to do next time this happens. You've heard it here first.
And Lewis, if you want, we can do some more one-to-one coaching. Like, just hit me up.
Oh, I love that.
So, okay, because sticking with F1, who is your favourite driver on the grid then, or the current grid?
Well, I mean, as I said, my heartbeat for Ferrari. I'm a real Ferrari fan. Driver-wise, that's a tough one. Driver-wise, I would say I'm really between Lando and George.
I like that. It's quite a new. Like, our team is quite diverse. We all have our favourites. We do have a massive Ferrari fan in our team. You know, Matt, you're listening. He's a huge Ferrari fan, and he's a big Vettel fan as well. But We've got a couple of younger, younger team members at the Nerds who are, well, we've got to mention Dan, the Bottas fan, obviously. He's a huge Bottas fan, but George Russell, he is a fan favourite. And do you think he's going to get the Mercedes seat next year?
I really hope so. I really like George. I like, he's such a good driver, and I think he really deserves like a Mercedes seat to just really show his potential. I was like so gutted when he had like the puncture and like couldn't get the win. Same in Hungaroring, it was so heartbreaking. Like once he didn't start like in front of his teammate and everything, and so I really hope he deserves it. Also his big sister Cara, she used to work for W Series and she's a really good friend of mine, so the entire family is like really nice.
Both British drivers, love it. Good. Okay, so obviously it is the battle between Red Bull and Mercedes this year. Who do you think is going to take it at this stage?
Well, if we ask Paris, he already said Mercedes.
Yeah.
That was true. So hilarious. It's so tough. I think, of course, now Mercedes is a bit ahead. Like championship, like manufacturer wise, definitely Mercedes, I would say, because they just have the stronger package with like two of the drivers. Apart from that, I mean, it would be a real change if Max would get the championship. And as I said, I'm really Michael Schumacher fan by heart, so I kind of not want him to beat Michael's record, kind of. Even though Lewis, of course, he's like an amazing driver. He really showed strengths in like situations that any other driver would just given up, which I kind of like see myself a bit, because like I'm this really happy person that never gives up until it's like really you have to give up. So fair play for that.
We don't really see much of that sort of rivalry that we see in Formula One and W Series. I mean, I've been in the W Series paddock, and everyone is such great friends. But can you ever imagine what it might be like if it actually ever got to that stage? I can't, because I've seen the relationship between everybody in the W Series paddock. All the drivers are, there's so much respect for each other. So why do you think that I don't think it would ever get to that stage in W Series. Would is that something that you would agree with?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm so surprised how well everything is going, especially off the track with so many girls. I'm not gonna lie, I had my doubts signing up to W Series because, of course, growing up in like motorsport, you're so used to be surrounded by men. Like I was more or less always the only girl on the grid, the only girl in the team, and like, so suddenly so many girls working together. But I believe we have like a really similar background. A lot of us kind of grew up in the men's world, and most of us are not the girly kind of girls. So I think that's why we really get along. And I really must say, like, I got so many good friends out of W Series, like a lot of the drivers and stuff I'm speaking to on a regular basis, and also trying to meet up now in like summer break or in winter breaks. So of course, on track it's a different story. You don't have friends on track while racing, but off track I really hope that it stays like this.
Okay, so we always do a little segment for a bit of fun on the podcast, and it's called the Motorsport Time Machine. Now, have you ever seen the film called Back to the Future?
Not sure, but maybe it's just have a different title in German, so I never really.
It's about time travel, and
okay,
they have a car and they go back in forwards in time or backwards in time, wherever they want to go. And this is basically what you're going to do now. So my question to you is, if you could go to any era of motorsport, to do anything, so whether you wanted to be a driver, a commentator, just to watch a race, or to be at an event, at any point in time, forwards or backwards, where would you go and why? For example, and to give you an example, because it's quite a horrible, not a horrible question, but a difficult question to answer. So I always say that I would go to Le Mans in 1966 and race against Ken Miles. That'd be where I would go. So where would you go and why?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I would say, yeah, I mean, with Formula One, if you really watch like the legend, like Senna, Lauda, Hunt area, that would be so amazing, because it was just so much more, and you could be so much more yourself as a racing driver than you can be now, because now it's always, you have to be politically correct, you're like so media briefed, and you have to be like this athlete, you have to be good looking because you have to do so much marketing and stuff. So I think back in the day was a little bit easier because it was more about the talent, apart more than like being like the whole package. But yeah, it was also super dangerous, so I'm not sure if I wanted to do my Nürburgring crash with like that kind of car. So yeah, but I think it would be really good fun to race like them.
I respect that. That's a good answer.
Are you happy with that answer, Cal? Because you quite often you say, "Oh, I agree. I don't disagree."
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it, but you know, like for example, Louise Goodman straight up said, "Yeah, I would go to a party with James Hunt." She had nothing to do with going to the races. She had nothing to do with driving. She was just like, "I'd go to a party with James Hunt."
Well, you can't disagree with that. It must be so much fun. But maybe nowadays you could ask Kimmy to go on a party. Maybe that would be like kind of maybe same level.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
We have heard about Daniel Ricciardo swinging off ceilings in Monaco, haven't we, as well on this show? So I think I would go there.
I definitely would go there.
Oh, you definitely would, Emma, yeah.
Well, I mean, I lived in Australia for quite a bit. I did the language stay there. So yeah, I mean, Ricciardo, he's really like Aussie love. So yeah, it was so sad. Last time in Hungary, we had like this party on Saturday evening, and apparently it was in the hotel which Ricciardo stayed, and some of the girls met him, and I was late, so I didn't.
Why were you late? How could you miss that?
Why could you meet Daniel Ricciardo? Oh my God.
Yeah, because I tried to look beautiful after a race, and so it took me longer. So I missed Ricciardo while looking good. That's even worse. Yeah.
There are no words for this. There are no words.
Yeah.
Emma's life has just crumbled. Literally.
Oh. See, this is why I could probably go to the F1 paddock, but I probably wouldn't be allowed in the McLaren garage.
Well, but the problem is, like, even now on track walks and stuff, you see Formula One drivers. Like I've seen Alonso, I've seen Latifi, I've seen like so many, but I'm always like, I can't do this fangirl and just like approach them and ask for a selfie. Like I never ask anyone for a selfie up to now. So even I flew home from Hungary in the same plane as Vettel, and I recognized him. And I also think that like he knew that I recognized him. And then in the bus, we really catched eye contact, and I was just like, congratulations, I said it in German. He just smiled and said thank you. And I was wearing the W Series backpack, so I think he recognized me, because in 2017 I also did the TT Cup with his little brother Fabienne. So yeah, but I was too afraid to ask for a selfie.
That's a fangirl moment right there, like when you're too afraid to ask. But you're racing in the Wii Series and you're too afraid to ask. Like, I think I would just crumble in that situation.
We do have fangirl and boy moments on this podcast as well, Emma, don't we? When we
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just, especially when you see them like on a track walk and stuff, like you're kind of working, they're also like working, so you don't want to like just run away from your engineer for a selfie with like Alonso or something. So, and also on the plane, like of course, I was just like in my Puma traveling clothes, and he was also wearing like a hoodie and like a cap, so he really didn't want to get recognized. And I thought, if I ask for a selfie now, like the entire plane gonna just like kind of run and like. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this to him.
Next time, just stay litter picking at Silverstone afterwards, right? That's the way to chill with Vettel.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a better solution for you. All you do is you go up to the driver and you say, "Oh my God, my mum is such a big fan of you. Could I get a selfie with you for my mum?" That way, they think, "Oh yeah, this girl's mum really loves me. I'll do it." And then it's off you, and then you can just talk to them like normal. That's what I'd do. I'd say, my friend Ollie's a really big fan of you. Do you mind if we get a selfie?
That's like when you ask for an autograph and they really sign it to them, right?
I'm too Fabienne. Yeah. I'm named after. Yeah, well, I could be named after my mom. No.
There you go. There we go. Listen, you've learnt a lot of things from us today. Even Lewis Hamilton has learnt a lot of stuff from this show. It's incredible that we provide such a service. How can people who want to follow your career, watch you race, follow your socials, where can they find out more about you?
Well, on this podcast here. And then, of course, social media. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. So, yeah, just give me a follow. I always post about pre and after races, where to watch, when to watch, and trying to give you some also insights into my life here in the mountains in Liechtenstein with my cat Chip. And just try and give me a follow and I keep you updated.
Do you have a leopard yet?
Sorry?
Do you have a leopard yet? A cheetah. Oh God, I got it wrong. Your favourite animal is a cheetah, isn't it?
Oh, Wally.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I still stick to my little cat, but he looks like a little white tiger, we call him. So, yeah, but he's still very small and cuddly. So, where did you get that from? That a cheetah is my
I'm
favorite.
actually quite curious, Ollie, where you found that.
The official W Series website, www.wseries.com, is where I got it from. It's on there.
Okay, well, that's so true though. Like, it's really my favorite, and my best friend Sabrina is on a safari at the moment, and she couldn't find a cheetah yet. So I told her she's not allowed to come home before she sent me a video and a picture of a cheetah.
Callum, is something tickling you there, mate? Something made you laugh?
Yeah, I mean, we agreed. I banter Ollie quite a lot, and he said, "Right, please don't banter me in front of Fab." I was like, "Right, I won't. I won't. I'll be good, I promise." And he's just done it to himself.
Yeah, yeah. Crofty really last week. Yeah, this is what this podcast is about. But thank you very much for joining the show. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Once you've won the W Series Championship, will you come back and talk to us?
Of course. So I guess I see you guys in the end of October.
Yeah, we'll book it in now. See you in the end of October. That's also my birthday, so bring some presents.
Yeah, that's good because my birthday is just the weekend after the finals. So I hope we're in Mexico celebrating then.
That's really funny because I'm going to Mexico in October. That's very strange. He's just completely threw me. Awesome.
See you there. 7th November in Mexico.
All right, I'll be there. Good. Thank you very much, and thank you to Emma for joining the show.
Thanks. I've had a lot of fun. This has been a great interview. Love it.
Yeah, I've been thrown completely there. Cal, thank you.
Thank you, and make sure if you get a selfie, I want to see it on your Instagram, and I want credit for that because I have shown you the way to get the selfie now. So I want
That's
proof.
Good.
It will say to Callum.
If you meet Daniel Ricciardo,
I will go. My friend Callum wants a selfie with you.
Yeah. I was going to say,
no, that's good.
I could give you my Daniel Ricciardo hat, and if you meet him, my friend Emma from FormulaNerds, she wants a selfie.
Well, we can all do that. So maybe I can get comfortable now to ask them. So thank you so much for having me. It was really great fun, and this hour just flew by as we would be racing. So can't wait to catch up with you guys soon, and have fun listening and watching.
He starts It's a battle!